Hello, the Darkness344 here, and in today's video we'll be going over Bedrock Build Tools Part 2. So in this video, I'll be basically talking about the WorldEdit add-on by SIsilicon, as well as the Amulet WorldEditor tool that I use, of course. So both of these tools are extremely useful, both have different applications, some pros, some cons, and I use them like basically all the time, so a lot of the computers and stuff I work on of course are built by them. So this doesn't also mean you have to just be working on like technical redstone and stuff with it. You can of course just use it as normal WorldEdit, I guess. Also a lot of the features on it are just for normal use as WorldEdit, so while a lot of technical redstoners do use WorldEdit, WorldEdit wasn't exactly designed for technical redstone, so you can use it for a lot of other features as well. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Now let's actually start the video. First of all, we're going to go over how to actually install the add-on by SIsilicon. So over here, we're just going to open up search engine of our choice, and over in the search bar, we'll just type in for WorldEdit, we're just going to type in WorldEdit and then SIsilicon. And of course, you could type in WorldEdit Bedrock, it'll probably come up with the same thing. But over here we have the GitHub. This is the one I'd recommend getting it from. We're just going to open that. Then we have CurseForge and also MCP-DL. So if I just open these three up, we'll go from the MCP-DL first. This basically is the actual page, I guess. I'd more recommend using the GitHub. Now over here for the installation, at least from the MCP-DL page, we're just going to follow this guide. Yes, it does say go through this site, which is a bit annoying, but you can of course use the GitHub instead. The reason we do the guy does this is so he can actually get monetized for his stuff and actually make a bit of money, because you know he's basically providing this for free, so it's always nice supporting. So of course if you want, donate via PayPal, or you can just use these download links over here. Now the other thing you can do is get it through CurseForge. So over here we have the latest release over here, you can just click on that and download it. But for at least what I do is I get it through the GitHub, and because this is of course the source and stuff, you don't actually have to go through any like advertising websites which may have viruses and stuff if you don't have a good browser. So sometimes it's a good idea to go through the GitHub. And if you still want to support the guy, you can of course use the links, PayPal, they have Patreon, so definitely go check them out, because the work they do is invaluable for this community. So what we're going to do to download this is find the release, latest one over here. Just going to press this, and as you can see, it'll give you slight change guide, and then we have these three things down here. So this one's for the server, but because I'm only going to focus on single player, we're going to download the add-on. So just press that, it'll come up with a download window. As you can see, I have a few previous versions because I've downloaded them before. We're just going to name this 123 for now. I'd recommend naming this the actual version number, so 0.8.1, or use slashes like this, dashes even. And then you're just going to click save over here at the bottom. So I've already downloaded this earlier in the week, and over here we have the .mc add-on. So what we can do is just double click this, and it should open Minecraft like this. So since I've already got this downloaded, it should cancel. But if you don't have WorldEdit already, it should come up with like a little thing at the top, so it might take a while to load. There we go, so import started, and then yeah, duplicate pack detected, but of course I already have it, so it doesn't matter. So if you already have WorldEdit and this thing comes up, just go settings, scroll down to global resources, my packs, and delete all the older versions. So you might have to go in storage instead to do it. So delete all your older versions, because you don't want a bunch of old ones, you always want the latest one only. So the last thing to mention is how do we actually get it installed into our world. So we're going to press play, and then whichever world we want to add it to, so for instance I want to add it to my main world, we're just going to press edit like this. And if we go scroll down to resource packs and behavior packs, we're going to press behavior packs, because it should also automatically apply the resource pack. We're going to go into my packs, select the correct version, and then press activate. So of course I already have it activated in my world over here, and it should just pop up into here, and it should also activate the resource pack as well. If it didn't activate the resource pack, just go my packs, find the resource pack, and add it in. So the last thing we're going to want to do before we actually go back into our game is press the game setting. We're going to scroll down to the bottom where it says experiments, and we are going to enable beta APIs or beta APIs. Make sure this one's on, because the other ones don't matter so much, but this one over here, the WorldEdit add-on, relies on this, so make sure this one's on. Of course, make a backup of your world as always. So now I've just gone into the world and we can load up, and as you can see in the top left hand corner, we have this chat message. You might not have this. If you don't have this, what you're going to do, just go to settings, and there should be how to play somewhere. So of course, if we go into how to play, you can just press the quick start under the WorldEdit tab, and as you can see, we have a couple things to do. So the first thing we're going to want to do is this over here. So by default, players are not allowed to use WorldEdit. Only those tagged with the WorldEdit permission can use its features. So what you're going to have to do is write /tag @s or @p or whatever, add WorldEdit in the chat, and this will allow you to give WorldEdit. So what you can do is just /tag add. Well, actually, so tag then the player. So I just want myself, so I'm going to either write my username, or I could do @p, or I could do @s. @p does the closest player, but because I'm the one typing the command, it'll just do myself. So I'm just going to do @s because that'll be yourself. Then we're going to do add, and then we of course can click tab to autofill, and we have WorldEdit over here already filled in, so we'll just do that. Hit enter, and of course, since I already have the tag, we can see that. We can also do /tag @p list, and we can see that I actually already have the WorldEdit tag. But now we have WorldEdit, and let me just take off the elytra because there's some bug with 1.20.1. So now we have WorldEdit, and we can actually get to starting some of the stuff. So to view all the actual features and stuff of the WorldEdit add-on, we're going to head over back to the GitHub, and over here there's a link, readthedocs.io, and if we just press this, it'll come up with a bunch of documentation. So we have a table of contents, a couple extra links, and we of course have our actual guides and stuff. So installation will of course go over the installation, how to install it, and you can just click the next buttons and stuff to actually see what does what. So I'll be showing off a couple of these features that I use anyway, but I'll be missing like a bunch. Like some of these I'm not going to be actually showing off. I'm only going to be showing the stuff that I actually use, because I don't actually really use a lot of the features. I only use a couple, but it's just more because this WorldEdit isn't just limited to like copying and pasting stuff. You can do like loads of stuff with masking, patterns, all this. So make sure to actually check out the document guide, and you'll be able to see a lot more stuff. It has like all tools built in and custom blocks and items to like use for tools and stuff. So definitely go check out this page. So one of the first things you're going to want to do when you actually enter your world is for at least selections and stuff. So we can select coordinates like this. Anyway, is grab a wooden axe. So I think you can type in ;kit to get a whole kit of like different items and stuff that do all different things. But you can just use just a normal axe, at least for selections from the creative menu. So my axe is enchanted, but that doesn't actually matter. This was just for something else that I was using a couple years ago. So the enchant doesn't actually do anything. So first thing we're going to learn how to do is how to make selections. So say you have a model, we'll actually go over to somewhere where there is actually something to make a selection. So maybe this. Say you have a thing like this and you actually want to just copy it over somewhere or move it somewhere or fill it with something. What we're going to do is go over to one corner, and we're going to left mouse button like this, and go over to the other corner. We can build up or something like this, and right mouse button, and this will set our selection. So you can see by this like lovely bounding box, and say you're selecting a component, it should be fine to select. It will just place back to what it is. But say you're selecting a block with the right mouse, the left mouse button instead of the right mouse button, it will break and replace it. So if you select this block down here, as you can see, that redstone block sometimes gets broken because the game was running a bit too fast, and as you can see, the block gets deleted, so this one also gets deleted. So make sure to replace that when you make your selection. So yeah, that also applies to like barrels and stuff. So if you're trying to copy over like stuff with items in, use the right mouse button on them. And for solid blocks, use the left mouse button. Because if you had a barrel with some items in, so let's just get this one out real quick. As you can see, this has some stuff in, and if I left mouse button and click it, those items will pop out, and which can be annoying. So at the moment, we look inside, the items are there, and if we left mouse button, the items will pop out and no longer be in there because it's just replaced with a normal barrel. I think that might be a bug. I think they normally do get replaced with the proper barrel with the items inside. But yeah, so as this is also still in development, there may be a few bugs. So make sure when it comes to anything with like items or stuff, those are normally the most buggy bits, so just be careful with that. So the first thing we're going to learn how to do is cutting and copying something. So over here, I've just built up this random temporary circuit, and let's actually select it. So we'll select this corner down here, and we'll select this corner over here. And remember, this repeater might not always be replaced, but now we've got it, we're going to have to learn how to copy. So when you type in copy, so if we do copy like this, it will copy relative to your current position. So if I'm over here, it's going to copy down there. So what you want to do is go right up to your model like this, and then type in copy, because that means when I paste it, so if we go over here instead, and we type semicolon paste, as you can see, it will be pasted relative to where I was. So say I go over here and then type in copy. Now when we paste it, you can of course use the up arrow to get your commands back. When I paste it, as you can see, it pasted relative to where I was when I copied it. So this can be useful and it can be annoying, because I think Minecraft command blocks normally copy from one of the positions and will always paste it relative to that position. So if you're starting over here and you copy something that you've selected, and when you paste it, it'll be like spawned down there or something. So just make sure to go right next to your model. Because of this relativeness, it actually is a bit more flexible, because say I wanted that model to be here on this repeater, well, we can go up to this repeater, stand on that, type in copy, then we can go over to this repeater where we want the model to be pasted, type in paste, and it will be pasted, as you can see, like that. So it's quite a useful thing for that. Now cut does the same thing as copy, just will delete the model. So if we type in cut, so cut like that, it's going to delete the model, and then we can of course paste it. I'll just paste another one over here, so like this, paste, and there we go, we get the model back again. So if I go back here and paste the model down, so we get this glass staircase for the next one. So of course you can keep pasting as many times as you want, and it should just be fine. So now the next thing you need to just bear in mind is, say you're copying a piece of redstone like this. While the redstone will be copied, the block underneath won't be copied, so when it's pasted, the redstone will break. So for instance, if I just copy this, so copy, and then we're going to just paste up here. As you can see, the redstone is no longer here. You may temporarily just get like a floating piece of redstone dust for a bit like that. That'll just be because your game's a bit laggy, it should just break afterwards. So one way to reduce like a bunch of floating blocks, as you can see on this world is quite laggy, we have a lot of floating blocks, is just to turn your simulation down a bit. But just remember, unless you're on a mobile device, don't turn your simulation down below 6 chunks, or things can get a bit balked with like mob spawning and stuff. I guess on creative mode that doesn't really matter, but just be mindful, the lower the simulation distance, the lower redstone will work far away. So if I had like a simulation distance of 4 chunks and I was standing here, that thing over there won't actually be working. So I'd have to actually go quite close to it, and it can just break stuff. So now the next thing we're going to learn is stacking. So say we want a bunch of models like this, or say we want to create a large thing like that, I guess, of memory or something, we're going to have to actually learn how to stack something. So what stacking is it'll just create multiple of the model. So it's like copying and pasting, but instead of having to paste one here, then go over, paste one here, then go over, etc., we can just specify how many of them we want. So for instance, if I just break some of this, actually we can just show /fill real quick. So if we want to clear a large area, we can just take one corner like that, take the other corner like this, and just type in semicolon set, and I'm just going to put air. So it's not actually fill, it's set. So just make sure to use the right word. So now we've just set it air, and there you go. You can also use this in combination with masks and stuff, but I don't really use it that often. So now back to stacking. I'm just going to select this corner and this corner right here, and say we just want a bunch of them going down. So what happens if we just stack this down? Let me remove that and place it here instead. Well, if we just actually, let's just remove that completely. Let's actually get this bus in as well. So say we just stack this down like this, and we'll just write 7 for now. So we get 8 modules in total because we already have one module. If we stack it 7, it's just going to place 7 extra modules down like this. So now we have 8 in total because of our original starting one. So there we go. But as you can see, we have a problem. The bus that we used, at least the control wire, doesn't actually have redstone on top. So this, well, yes, you can just place them all back like this. That's quite repetitive and manual, and especially when you're working on like massive large modules like this over here, you don't really want to do that. You want to make sure to get everything in the selection. So what we can do when we're making our bus is just be mindful of where our components go. So of course, well, yes, these 2 blocks will be stacked down, and they were. The redstone up here isn't in the selection, as you can see, but this one is. So every redstone on top of these blocks will not be stacked down. So the way we fix this, just place a block underneath the selection like this, and just place your redstone like there. So if you watch the structure block video, it's just the same thing with WorldEdit. So as you can see, we now have that selection. So one thing to do sometimes is just stack the model down by 1, so you actually have the reference points to place the blocks on. But I normally just build down with a temporary block that will get destroyed. So now if we go run that again, there we go. We actually get all our things over. So now what we can do is stack this horizontally. So say we wanted a bunch of them. So we'll just select this one here and go down to the very bottom. So make sure not to select too big of a selection, or your device will probably crash. But make sure you actually get everything like this. So now if we type in stack, we'll just do 3, so we get 4 modules. As you can see, they've stacked over. But there we go. Again, I didn't include this top one, and we'd have to place them down, so just be careful with your selection. So one last thing to mention while stacking is, say you have barrels or something on your model and you've stacked it a bunch. Sometimes the very end one, you won't actually have these barrels, so you'll have to place them all manually. So now one last feature I'm going to mention is move. So say we have this module over here and we want to move it a couple blocks over. What we can do is just select all the bits like this. So select that one, select this one over here. So we got everything in the bounding area, and then we're just going to look in the direction we want to move. So that's the same as stacking. If you want to stack it this way, you have to look in that direction. So we're going to look in the direction we want to move it and type in move, and then the amount of blocks we want. So if we want to move it 1 block, we can just move it 1 block. So one other feature, of course, is also rotation. So let's build a random temporary model again. Say we wanted to rotate this model. So we can select it like this, and now what we're going to do is we're just going to copy it. So copy, and then if we go over and paste it, we'll just get it down normally. But we can also do rotate, and then we can type in an angle in degrees, so 90 for instance, and that should rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So now if we have it, if we paste it in, as you can see, it's been pasted 90 degrees clockwise, of course still relative to where you copied it. Of course we can also rotate minus 90 like this to get it back to what it was. Oops, I did it again, so let's rotate 90 again so we get it back to normal. So now when we paste it, it goes back to normal because we rotated it back again. So the other thing to note is mirroring something. So if we take the selection again like we have, and we just let's just copy it again, so Elytra bug, so copy, then we can also just type in flip like this, and if we flip it, it'll be flipped in our clipboard again, and now when we paste it, as you can see, it's the flipped view. So this is great for when we're doing busing. So let's go over here to show it off. As you can see, this is flipped of this one over here. So what I did is I selected this block here, that block down there and copied it from this position. Then I typed in flip and then I pasted it from this position, and then we got it down this side over here. So if I just show that off real quick by making a fake bus like this, and we're just going to copy this all. So I'll select this corner and this corner, and we're just going to copy this, so copy. Now if we type in flip, so flip like this, and now we paste it in, we get it down like that. So of course, if you wanted them to be two separate buses, you'd of course walk one over and then paste it in, but because we want them to be the same bus, let me just break these, we want to still be standing on the same place we copied it from. So then we'll get the two modules flipped like this, sharing the same bus. One thing to note is, of course, when you're copying structures, if it's really large, I'd recommend using Amulet, just because the WorldEdit add-on of course runs in-game, which means if your game crashes, which it can if you're copying a massive item, your world might get corrupt, or you might get like chunk corruption and stuff, which is not a good thing to do. So of course, regular backups as well. The other thing to note is when you're copying, I normally paste things down twice. So say we copy a large thing like this, because it doesn't paste the entire thing at once, it pastes it in like layers. So it'll do this bit first, then this bit, then this bit, then this bit. Stuff like this block over here might be pasted down first, then this torch might be pasted, which means that would be fine. But say this torch was pasted down first, then this block, well, in that time the torch gets placed and there's an air block here, then the block gets placed, the torch won't have anything to support it, so it might break. So what you can do is when you paste something, paste it first time, it'll paste, then paste it a second time, and it should, because it'll already have the blocks, any torches will just get placed down again if they broke. So always paste stuff twice just in case. So now one other feature, of course, which is really important, is undo. I use this all the time, so if I accidentally break something, so if I select this, let's select this all actually, and if we do cut, but I wanted to actually do copy instead, well, we can type in undo like this and we'll get it back again. So don't be too reliant on undo, of course, because just always make sure to take regular backups of your world. So let's get on to Amulet World Editor. This is where you can copy larger things in an external program, and it's kind of like WorldEdit, just it's not in game. With the WorldEdit add-on, it's kind of replaced my use of Amulet, but when I export stuff between versions and between worlds, I always like to use Amulet quite a lot because it's great for doing that. So say I wanted to import this into Java Edition, I can do that. So yeah, first of all, let's actually go over how to install Amulet. So the first thing we're going to want to actually do is head over and download Amulet. So on the web browser of your choice, I'm just using Brave. You're just going to just type in Amulet's World Editor, and over here we have a few things that come up. So the first one is the actual official download website, but they also have a GitHub over here as well. So the GitHub is probably the latest one you'll get. You can download latest stuff from the GitHub. However, the website also has the stuff, I'm pretty sure. It looks like it automatically updates, so you can use either. The first thing to know with Amulet is that it's still in development, so whenever you do actually use it in your world, just make sure to back that up. But one of the things I'd recommend is joining the Discord, because there's a lot of support on that, or if you have any problems or suggestions for features, you'll always be able to like chat with the developers and stuff. So we can just click here to download the latest release. I'm just going to save it in my downloads folder. That might have been blurred, so private stuff, of course. But yeah, this is one way to download it. The other way is, of course, just go to the GitHub, find the releases tab over here. Latest release should be over here. You can just click on that, and you can, of course, download just the .zip over here. So now that we've done this, you're just going to go into your file browser, and a lot of this will probably be blurred out, just private stuff, of course. But over here we have Amulet, the version number, Windows, and of course x64.zip. So when we're on this, if you're on like Mac or something, you might have a few other problems, but because this is mainly a tutorial for like Windows 10 edition, you'll probably be on Windows 10 edition. You're going to want to head over to extract, just press extract all. I'm just going to put it in my downloads folder, of course, and this can be on, it's fine. We're just going to extract it. It will take a bit of time, as you can see. Yeah, it might take a long time if because it's extracting loads of small files, but just wait a bit. It does take a while, but it's worth the wait. So now that it's done, this window popped up and it's basically where we have it. So over here we can just go into it, and at the very bottom, well, not really the bottom, we have amulets_app.exe, and this is what you want to run. So there isn't like it doesn't download as an application that's installed to your computer. It's its own standalone thing. And if you want to have this on your desktop, it's like a icon, you can right click and just click create shortcut, and you'll be able to drag this onto your desktop. But for now I'm going to delete that because I can just run it from this folder over here. And what we're going to do is just double click on this, and this will pop up, of course, Windows Protect your PC, and that's just because it's not, well, it's not like a official app like on the Microsoft Store. So what you'll have to do is click more info, and then click run anyway. So of course I'm not exactly liable for any viruses you download, of course. So yeah, just to put that out there, that's your own safety of your computer. Now over here we have welcome to Amulet. Of course, make sure to back up your world, that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to press do not show again because I already know all of this and I understand. Now as you can see, the window opens up, and of course you can have it in a slightly smaller screen like this. Have a few language settings over here. I'm just going to use English, and we have Discord, user manual, and bug tracker. User manual will just open up the GitHub, and it'll just show you a few things of what you can do and how you can use them, but I'll pretty much go through all that we really need. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we just press open world, and as you can see, you might have recently open worlds if you use this a lot, but if not, you have these three things over here on the left. So open other world will mean you can open it up from the file manager. So say you have just a world in your download folder, you can use this to do that. Java edition will list all your Java worlds, so I've just got this one over here, and Bedrock edition will list all your Bedrock worlds. So first of all, this one over here is just my main world. I can just click on this and it should open up like this. If it may take a while, you might need to close the program and reopen it, but of course make sure to back up this world. So you can do the same thing just by heading back onto main menu tab and going for Java edition. So as you can see, they're stored up in this little tab widget over here, and you can just sort through them. You can have multiple worlds open at once, but I recommend only having one or two. So now we have these several settings. We have close world, which will just close it, the actual world, and then some options on the left in these extra tabs. So you can press, at the moment we're on the about tab on both of them, but you can do 3D editor as well as convert. So convert means you can select an output world, preferably just a blank world you create, and this means you'll be able to convert your Bedrock world to a Java edition world, or a Java edition world to a Bedrock world. So if we go on new world, we can click convert, and we can of course do it here as well. So this is one of the easiest ways to actually convert a whole world over. Bear in mind some stuff like MBT data and stuff, so like stuff stored in barrels, might not always transfer over properly. So it's not always a perfect conversion, but you know, that's just the problem with two completely different versions of the game. So now we have 3D editor over here, and if we just press on that, it may take a while. This may take several minutes, in fact. Depends on your Wi-Fi speed, and it'll just download our resource packs and just texture packs and extra stuff it needs. So now here's the one bit where it may be a bit laggy. As you can see, I'm kind of having trouble to move my mouse around, but we have a couple of controls, and I'll just go through everything. So first of all, at the top we have file, some of the stuff with the word options, edit, some more options over here, options, so you can rebind your controls and stuff. As you can see, we can rebind them. I'm just going to keep on the default ones for now, and we also have another options menu over here, so we can change like the render distance, the FOV and stuff. So this is kind of useful if you're if you want to change the render distance down smaller, because if your world's very laggy. Now the way we actually move around is just WSAD, so it may take a while to move. Now if you want to use the mouse to look, you have to click the right mouse button, and now we can use the mouse to look around. So as you can see, it will be a bit laggy, and it definitely depends on how powerful your CPU is. I have a Ryzen 9 3900X, and as you can see, it's still like this. Unfortunately, that's just how this tool is, and it's still an extremely useful tool to use though, so I definitely recommend using it. So now if we want to get our mouse back, you can just press the right mouse button back again, and now we have several options over here and here. So first of all, we have these 4 buttons up here: undo, redo, save world, or save changes really, and close world, and they're pretty much obvious. So each time you make a change, you'll be able to undo or redo it or save it, and this will save it to the world. So one other thing to note is make sure you don't have your Bedrock world or whatever world open in the background while you're editing it, because you'll have issues with two programs trying to access the same file, which just can't happen. So this is the camera speed, so the speed you move around, and you can just change this over here, but I'm going to leave it as this is the default. So now we have the coordinates of where we are. Of course we can just teleport to it by typing them in. Then we also have biomes, so we can change between biome. And then we have a 3D or 2D button. So 2D will allow you to inspect your world in 2D like this. And then 3D will, of course, put you back in 3D mode. So now, the actual stuff we can do. We have delete blocks, copy, cut, paste, and some coordinate stuff. So say I wanted to copy this over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to one of the corners. And you can either try drag like this, but I'd recommend holding the right mouse button down, so you get the close selection like this, because if you don't, you get a far selection, which will just be wherever your mouse is, like this. If you hold it down, you can then hold down left click, and you can drag out a box like this. So once we drag out a box, let's actually just find something I can copy. We'll just do this for now. Like this, we'll just select the whole thing. This doesn't really matter how big your selection is, because then in our settings over here, our X1, Y1, Z1, or Z1, and the same down here, we can actually change these a bit to change our parameters. The other thing we can do is, of course, select faces with the left mouse button and drag them. So this is great for quickly fine-tuning your stuff. You can, of course, do corners and sides, but I recommend just doing the faces, because it will mean you get the most accurate results. So of course, each time I move one of these, it's going to add a change, so we can of course redo that and stuff. If you just move around and you don't actually modify any blocks or anything, I wouldn't recommend saving your world. I'll just quit it, because you haven't actually made any proper changes to your world, so don't bother saving anything. Now we can have some of these positions, so we can actually move the points and stuff, but the main things I'm going to focus on are cut, copy, and paste. So cut will delete whatever's in here, and it will export it to your clipboard. Copy will copy whatever's in here and export it to your clipboard, and delete blocks will just delete it all. So, and then we can of course use paste to paste down those blocks. So over here, if I just select this thing over here, like this, I just select this whole thing. I might make the volume a bit smaller. I can press copy like this, and then go over somewhere, preferably on at least on Bedrock Edition. See, these chunks have not generated yet, or if I paste something in this chunk, the chunk will be force generated by the Amulet program, meaning if I have terrain like this, none of the stone will actually generate in here, so we'll just be left with an empty hole like this, which is extremely annoying. So whenever you paste something, make sure to paste it wherever there is actually ground and in generated chunks. And if you have a bunch of non-generated chunks where you want to paste something, go back in your game and place a bunch of blocks down. I think I've done this somewhere else in my world, and this will force generate the chunks, and then you can paste stuff in. So now we're just going to press paste, and as you can see, we have our paste selection. If you hold down right mouse button, as you can see, it comes close to you, and then you can just press left mouse button again, and then we have the selection over here. Now of course you can change the location with these buttons over here. you can rotate it. So like this. Just be careful, because of course if you rotate it like this, the torches aren't actually going to be like that. They just won't work properly. So we'll just change that back. And of course you can use these rotation buttons as well, kind of for the side you're looking at. So if I look at it like this, we have a slightly different type of rotation. We also have mirroring, so you can mirror it horizontally, well, not much change, or vertically. Then we also have scale, so you can change this. I think this is more meant for like rotating stuff, because yeah, say we had -1 or something like this, it would flip it around like that. So the scale's more for actually rotating things and mirroring things. You don't really want to be using it for actually scaling the model. Then down here we have paste air, paste water, paste lava. I keep these on by default, but it also means if there's something else in the area, when you paste it in, that thing will get deleted, because of course the air blocks are being pasted in. You can turn this off, but I'd just leave it on and just be careful with your selection. So now of course we can just click confirm, then save to save the change, but because I don't really want this in my world, I'm just going to exit out the world. So it'll pop up with this, 15 unsaved changes. Would you like to save? No. So now the best thing about this thing is that we can actually convert stuff from different worlds. But not only that, can we convert Java to Bedrock, we can also go on the 3D editor, say on the Java version, and we can paste things in from our Bedrock one. So over here, let's just click paste, and because it's kept the selection from earlier, if I go down like this, as you can see, this was the thing I selected from Bedrock, built in Bedrock, and this is a Java edition world. And now I can just paste this in, click confirm, it will paste it in. It may take a while if it's a large thing, so of course just be careful. And then we can press save, and when we exit out of this, this will have saved in this Java edition world. Now as you can see, there's a bit of like model clipping, and that's because since we've already pasted it, we can now move the selection, and we can paste another over here. And that just we can just do that as many times as we want. So some other features, of course, are these boxes down here. Select, paste, operation, import, export, and chunk. So chunk is just kind of like a view like this, and you can use these to create empty chunks, delete unselected chunks. Export and import are more for like the schematic kind of stuff. So say if we went back onto select and selected our model down here again, like this. Now what we can do is click export, and we can export it to a platform, and this will basically be kind of like a structure. So if we go back into my download folder, probably everything's blurred, but as you can see, it's just saved as a .construction, and that means we can always import it back in. Now if we go to Java Edition and we export it, it should still be able to save it as a .construction file, and of course you'll give it a file name. And over here we have our hello.construction file, which means we can always import this back into the game. And of course it's in the horrible Minecraft obfuscated stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much Amulet. It's great for copying and pasting things, and the best part about it is you can transfer between worlds. Of course MBT data might not always be transferred, but I'm pretty sure they are working on that. And the best part about it is because of course it's open source, I'm pretty sure. At least you can people work on it all the time. People make add-ons and stuff, so if you go check out the Discord, you'll be able to see some of that. So yeah, definitely a great program, and I definitely recommend using this as well as the typical WorldEdit, because I typically use this for larger things, because the problem with the WorldEdit is if you select something absolutely massive and then paste it over and it crashes your game, you're going to have like bits everywhere, where this seems, so far at least for me, to have less chance of crashing when I'm copying over absolutely massive things. So yeah, I hope this video helped, and both these tools that I showed off are actually quite useful, and I pretty much use them for everything now. And so definitely go check out the creators and stuff, because these are extremely useful in your world, and I definitely recommend picking them up if you don't already use them. But yeah, thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'm out.